investigation's challenge against the suspension of life sentence handed to expelled BJP leader Kuldeep Singh Sengar in the 2017 Unnao rape case. The matter, which has drawn national attention for years, returned to the spotlight when the Delhi High Court granted bail to Sengar. Now the hearing will be before a bench led by Chief Justice Surya Kant along with Justices J.K. Maheshwari and Augustine George. Not just the CBI, but two advocates, Anjali Patel and Pooja Shilpkar, have also filed separate petitions against the Delhi High Court order that granted relief to Sengar. All eyes are now on the Supreme Court's verdict today.
न्याय की मेरी यही मांग है कि मुझे सुप्रीम कोर्ट पे भरोसा है कि मुझे न्याय देगा और मैं अपने साथ में हर बहन बेटियों की आवाज़ उठा रही हूँ ताकि हर बहन बेटियों को हमारे से न्याय मिले। अगर ये चीज़ पहले करती तो मुझे न्याय मिलता, उनकी बेल खारिज होती, ताकि हमारे साथ उन्होंने गलत किया, रेप किया, उसके बाद मेरे पिता को मार दिया, परिवार की सुरक्षा हटा दी, पैरोकारों की गवाहों की सुरक्षा हटा दी, जो मेरे केस में खास इम्पोर्टेंट जमानत ले रखा है, उनको खतरा बना हुआ है हर तरीके से। मेरे बच्चे हैं, मेरे हस्बैंड की जॉब छूट गई है, नौकरी से निकाल दिया गया, मेरे बच्चे असुरक्षित घर में पड़े हैं क्योंकि खतरा बढ़ाकर उनको दबाना होगा तो मेरे बच्चे उठा लेंगे। आगे की यही योजना है कि मैं अपनी लड़ाई लड़ूंगी, मुझे न्याय मिलना चाहिए। मैं भी देश की बेटी हूँ, मैं भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर जी की बेटी हूँ, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी की बेटी हूँ।
आज हमको हाई कोर्ट से न्याय मिल जाता है, सीबीआई जा रही है, अच्छी बात है। हम सीबीआई पर इल्जाम नहीं लगा रहे हैं। खाली एक जो बोले पीड़िता कहाँ है, बोला हम पीड़िता का कहा जानी, उन्हीं का साथ दिया, वो आयु उनका मिल चुका था।
आप कह रही हैं सीबीआई का आयु मिला हुआ था सेंगर के साथ?
हाँ, मिला हुआ था। दो जजों पर भरोसा हट गया, हमका हाई कोर्ट पर भरोसा नहीं हटा। मेरे अधिकारी, मेरे यूपी सरकार, दिल्ली सरकार से हम यही विनती मांग रहे हैं ना कि हमको न्याय चाहिए, हमको न्याय चाहिए। न्याय का भरोसा है, दिल्ली सरकार, यूपी सरकार, योगी जीते, द्रौपदी मुर्मू जीते, अमित शाह जीते, यही न्याय मांग रहे हैं। न्याय चाहिए हमको, न्याय खातिर लड़ने दे, हमको धरना प्रदर्शन करने दे, जितने दिन जब तक हमको न्याय नहीं मिलेगा, जब तक का धरना प्रदर्शन चलता रहे।
ये बहुत ही दुखद बात है कि एक महिला जिसका रेप हुआ, उसका जो दरिंदा रेपिस्ट जेल में था, बाहर आया बेल पे, उसको अदालत ने बेल दे दिया। अब वो महिला न्याय की गुहार लगा रही है कि मुझे न्याय दो, मुझे मेरे साथ इंसाफ करो। अब कोर्ट का आदेश है तो मैं समझता हूं कि अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट के अंदर उन्होंने पिटीशन दाखिल किया है उनकी ज़मानत कैंसिल करने के लिए। महिला के जो वकील हैं उन्होंने भी दाखिल की है पिटीशन की उनकी ज़मानत खारिज हो। तो इन जैसे दरिंदों को बाहर खुली फ़िज़ाओं में रहने का कोई अधिकार नहीं है, इनकी जगह जेल की काली कोठरी में ही होना चाहिए।
And we are joined by Ananya Bhatnagar and Arunima on this broadcast, and Arunima is joining us live outside the Supreme Court. Now, Ananya, let me come to you first. Ananya, what can be expected in today's hearing at the Apex Court?
Well, definitely the Central Bureau of Investigation, which has filed its appeal before, in fact, the Supreme Court challenging the Delhi High Court order, would look for, in fact, a stay in this particular case. But very clearly, they would be arguing, in fact, for interim stay on that particular order that was passed by a bench of the High Court. But very clearly, the Supreme Court would actually be looking into whether or not a stay can be granted at this particular stage, or only would it issue a notice and seek response from all the parties as far as these petitions are concerned, because two matters are listed before the Supreme Court. One is the appeal that has been filed by the Central Bureau of Investigation, and second is, in fact, a petition that was a PIL petition that is filed by two advocates who also, challenged this particular order of the Delhi High Court, where, suspension of sentence was granted to Kuldeep Singh Sengar in this particular case. But what happens next is something that only time can tell us. It is a bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, Justice Surya Kant, along with Justice Augustine George and in fact, Justice J.K. Maheshwari, that would be hearing this particular matter. So we'll have to wait and watch as to how things pan out and whether there would be any kind of relief that is given out to the victim and the Central Bureau of Investigation as well.
Right, Ananya. Let me go across to Arunima. Arunima, if you could tell our viewers about the CBI's plea in the top court. What has the CBI said in its plea in the Supreme Court?
So the Central Bureau of Investigation has made two pertinent points. One, saying that you must have a victim-centric approach. The way law has been interpreted, if you look at the POCSO Act, the preamble to the POCSO Act actually says it very clearly that you can borrow the definition of a public servant from IPC, from CRPC or from the Income Tax Act. And the court has relied on that to go ahead and define Kuldeep Singh Sengar as somebody who was not a public servant, because under IPC section 21, MLA is not defined as someone who is a public servant. CBI is now requesting the Supreme Court that you cannot just read what in the written text, you also have to be interpretative and have a victim-centric approach to go ahead and give justice. And that was done by the trial court. The trial court relied on the definition of public servant as given in the Prevention of Corruption Act and thereby upheld section 5C of POCSO. So CBI in Supreme Court also is pressing that that kind of an approach be taken. The second thing is the LK Advani case that has been cited by the CBI once again, saying that in that matter too, something which did not deal with a crime which is as heinous or as grave as rape, the court's interpretation was different. So therefore, one must look at precedent and define who a public servant is and bring legislators into that ambit. So that's the broad framework under which CBI is going to argue. Of course, CBI lawyers also feel that the Delhi High Court, in a case where suspension of sentence was before it, should not have gone into the merit of the case. It's a over 50-page order. Usually when bail or suspension of sentence is granted, the judges look at whether the accused is a flight risk, whether the person, if given any relief, will pose any threat to the victim or the witnesses. So the High Court should also have seen only this aspect instead of getting into the merit of the case, which is decided at the stage of conviction or acquittal.
Right, Arunima. Ananya and Arunima, I would request you to stay on with us.